Hey y'all, welcome back to my series. Today I am joined with a really close friend of mine, someone that I am really excited to bring onto my channel. Today I have my friend Basile Shingu. Whoop whoop. And today we're just gonna learn more about Basile, what he's into, and just what he's been doing creatively. Really just get to just sit down and speak with him because he's kind of in the shadows and I want to put him in the limelight today. So hey Basile, what's up? How's it going?
I know, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. A long time coming, like you said.
A long time coming.
We're here though.
Can you just kind of give us a quick, who is Basile? Let us know who you are.
Kid from Charlotte who loves DJing and photography, and we kind of love to do a little bit of everything for the most part, but DJ and photography are kind of like the main focuses right now. When
you were growing up, I like to learn more about people, as they age and everything. Can you tell us who was Basile as a kid, young adult? Like, give us the timeline.
I was definitely like a shy kid growing up. I was really into like music and like fashion and all that stuff. It's weird. I remember like first got like cable at my house and whatnot, and like I remember like the very first like video I saw going back home was like I think it was Independent but like Webby on BET. And I think ever since I saw that video I just became like a really like big fan of like, I think it was like music. I had like a big like deep appreciation for it. So yeah, that's how I was as a kid. Just a kid who was like kind of shy, really loved music, sports, played like basketball growing up. Had like a skateboarding phase. Didn't really pan out, to be honest. But yeah, I think I was a kid who just like loved those things and kind of tried a little bit of everything. I have like a brother who was a photographer who kind of actually got me into photography when I was like young. I was like 13 at the time, and he had me like do like a photo shoot for like one of his classes, and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And I guess at that time I was like, you know what, let me just kind of like get into that.
It always takes like one thing, like your brother putting you in that position to take pictures for him, and it sparks so much. Like my dad was the type of dad to record everything, even though I hated it in the moment. Then when I would pick up the camera, I would like almost like vlog when I was a kid and be like, we're doing this is, oh my God, look at dad, whatever. And I mean, now I still take videos all the time.
Look at you now about that type of stuff.
Very pivotal, it might've been a pivotal moment and you didn't even realize it. When I met you, I think you had just started working for, I was gonna say Social Status, but Shop by Cozy, let me know. It's not Social Status, it's the Whitaker Group. Yeah. I would just love to learn more about how did you get that opportunity? What did you gain from it? Just because you don't work there anymore. So, just kind of tell us all about that.
Yeah, so how I got it, I know it was around, I think like 2017, and I remember the Social Status page for the Whitaker Group. I remember that I think they posted just a posting for, I think they're looking for a video editor and whatnot. And at the time I was about like a year and a half into photography. I just kind of like took a shot in the dark and just said like, why not? And ended up becoming the photo editor for the Whitaker Group, just doing like e-commerce stuff, photos for like editing shoe photos so it can just be thrown on the websites. I think around 2018, I ended up transitioning. I went from being a photo editor to being a photographer, like a social media photographer for one of their boutique stores, APB. No, it was like really fun actually. Just that whole era was like super fun. Definitely like learned a lot. One, I just had like a much more like deeper appreciation for like streetwear, but also just really cool just to see, at least like under the hood of like one of like my favorite like stores growing up, you know what I'm saying? How that kind of like operates. That was fun, just meeting a lot of great people. I feel like I became like a much more like better photographer. I think it just kind of expanded, I think like my palette as far as like creativity wise and stuff. So no, it was a really dope time at the Social Status, at the Whitaker Group, to be honest. Shout out to everybody from there.
I do want to talk about your photography for a second, because the images that you have online are like, listen, I remember when we first took pictures that one day we first met in person for the first time, I was like, wow, these are really, really good. Sometimes it's like, okay, the camera is really good, but it's different when the person just shoots insane images. And on your website, the editorial pictures, Basile, are crazy. Crazy. I really mean that. Like, Basile took these and edited it. Like, these are crazy. How long do you think it took you to like get to that level of mastering that? Because when I met you in 2017, those pictures were crazy enough to me, but like the pictures you have as of recent, insane. So, I mean, how long did that take? What did you do to learn all of that?
I think it just kind of ties back into, I think, working from Social Status. I think at the time, so nobody knows about the Whitaker Group. It's kind of like a boutique store. It's a umbrella, kind of like split between like 3 companies: enviorment, social status, and APB. So when I was doing social media for APB, I know like one of me and my friends who we kind of like came in at the same time with the Whitaker Group. My good friend Mike and one of our good friends Nate, who was doing social media for enviorment. I think I just kind of seeing them, how they did work, and just kind of getting pointers from them rubbed off on me, and just kind of allowed me to kind of like take that like next progression, the next step in like my photography. So yeah, no, definitely I think with those photos that you're talking about, I don't think without like being at social status, I don't think those editorial photos would be like as good as they are. So I definitely attribute to them for sure.
So you learned more through actually doing it rather than, you didn't take any classes or nothing like that?
No, I think because when I first started getting into photography, I kind of learned it through like my brother, and it kind of just trial and error, no pun intended.
We'll talk about that in a second.
No pun intended. But it's just learning through like trial and error, and yeah, it was like one of those things, just trial and error, and just kind of going through the motions. And yeah, I think definitely no formal training, without a doubt.
I want to show you this tweet that I saw of yours. It's not bad.
I was gonna say that.
I mean, I do have some bad ones, but okay. December 22nd, 2019.
Oh my God.
Yes.
All right.
You said, I'm really too hard on myself when it comes to my photography. Part of me is telling me to lighten up, but then another part of me is telling me to do better to reach my desired growth. So it's been 3 years since you tweeted that. How do you feel about, photography, music, everything that you're doing creatively? Do you feel like you reached that desired growth that you wanted, or are you still kind of like hard on yourself a little bit? Like, you made that tweet 3 years ago. Are you content with where you are since then?
I'll definitely think I'm like grateful that I am where I am now, but it's definitely one of those things where I guess when I got to that spot, I was like, oh, I guess I'll be good. But then like once I've gotten there, I was like, oh no, like there's like much more that I actually want to kind of like achieve and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
the post keeps moving.
Yeah. And I think that's something I've like realized though since that tweet actually is just I guess like as you kind of like go through like the motions of like whatever like you're working with and whatnot, and I think once you get to like that spot, you kind of realize that just like I feel like there's like something missing almost. I don't think I've hit my pinnacle at all. Definitely still striving to just be as great as undeniable as possible, I'll say.
Do you think within that time period you achieved what 2019 Basile would have wanted?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. I think and then some too. Cause like looking back, as I'm like, as you asked me that question, I'm like kind of looking back on like all the things I've accomplished. It's making me realize like, oh, I've actually like done a lot since then. But I know like in my head when I was kind of like going through those motions, it definitely didn't feel like it. But like looking back, I definitely think I've accomplished like a good amount so far. Definitely have a few things that's like has to be checked off the checklist, but we're getting there though. We're getting there.
We talked about photography. Let's kind of transition more into the music thing. So can you first of all give us a breakdown of the difference between Soille, Immaculate Taste, and Trial and Error?
Okay.
What is the difference between all these? Before we get into talking about them individually, can you just tell us the difference?
Soille, if nobody knows, it's this DJ collective between like me and my good friend Solomon. Went to high school with him, and we've just been really good friends since. And yeah, it's like this DJ collective that we started around, I think like 2017 actually, 2017. Did our first mix called like If It Feels Good, and we did like another mix in 2018 called Conversations With You. So that's that. That's Soille. For Immaculate Taste is like a record label, creative agency that's ran by two of my cousins. Yeah, it's this record label that I've been a part of since I think I was about like 13, since its inception, to be honest. So like that's that, and Trial and Error is pretty much like this visual set thing that I've been crafting for the past year that just kind of, I would say, really kind of like is like a marriage between like all of like my interests. It's like one, like music videos, TVs, film, photography, and I said music of course, so it's like all that wrapped into one, and DJing too. So yeah, that's all. Those are the difference between all three of them for sure.
You've always created great mixes when you do like Be Social events or your house parties, Basile's legendary house parties. I've only been to 2. Why do you love to host things like that? Parties, Be Social events, what does that do for you?
I think I've always wanted to go to like a party where just like you kind of get like the best of both worlds in the sense of let's say you're going to like a club or party, you kind of like expected to hear like, you know, the Magnolias, the Travis Scotts, the Drakes or whatever. I think the problem was, I think I've just been to like too many parties at the time where like the music is good and whatnot, but kind of people are just like acting like way too cool, back against the wall, just kind of chilling and whatnot. And I think at that time I was just like, I just really want to throw a party where I can kind of like play, let's say like a Sicko Mode by like Drake or Travis Scott, but like at the same breath I could play like Rock With You by Michael Jackson, which will like make people kind of like want to get up and like party. And it's kind of like dance and whatnot, you know? Which I think I tried to do with the first 3 parties, but then I think when I switched into like DJing, it became a lot more like concrete and apparent that like that's kind of the thing that I want to do. Because I don't know, I think nothing, at least for me, like nothing really kind of like puts more of a smile on my face, just kind of like seeing people just like really enjoy themselves, listen to like music that they love, to songs that they wouldn't really expect at a party. I just really kind of get like a rise, just kind of seeing people enjoy themselves, listening to music, and by me, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of where it stemmed from, and something I've always been trying to, at least with each party or event that I throw, just kind of like accomplish that goal of just at least let people have like a really good time, I'd say.
I love that.
That was so long-winded.
I love to curate things myself. Like every time I've had a Friendsgiving or like I've hosted something at my house, it's just always really great to see like people having fun because or even like my bowling, right? Like when people were like texting me like, oh, thank you so much for organizing this. It's very, very, very draining sometimes.
Setting it up is draining, but
it can be draining, and making sure people arrive on time and everything, and making sure people pay for things that they owe.
I definitely put up 30 minutes late that day.
And he won the second game. It seems like you surround yourself with a lot of creatives, really great people. It seems like you have a great just group of friends. Do you intentionally surround yourself with people who are, you know, even just slightly creative, or do you think you just like attract that towards yourself?
Maybe a little bit of both, but I think I'll probably lean more towards the attracting side, I'll say. So I think for me, I guess whenever I like meet people, it's like as long as you're just like a really cool person and a good person, like we kind of like can pretty much like talk about anything for the most part. But like the cool thing about that is like usually those people are just kind of like creative in some aspect, you know, which kind of makes it cool. But I definitely think it's one of those things it's a little bit of both, but I think I might have tracked it somewhere somehow.
Basile seems like he has friends that are just as great as him. You guys are very supportive of one another, and it's really great to see.
I'm across sitting with one right now. So, yeah.
To my knowledge, you do work like a normal 9-to-5 job, just like me. You know, 9-to-5 girlies.
Yes.
How do you balance your interests as well as your job? What are the struggles, the pros and cons? A lot of people don't know what goes into creating what, you know, you like trial and error episodes, the filming, editing, posting, whatever. Can you give people an insight of just what your life is like to be a creative, but also someone who works at a 9-to-5, pays bills, all that other stuff?
Life as a creative is kind of like unorganized in a sense for me. Working a 9-to-5 kind of adds some kind of like organization for me, which I love. But yeah, no, I think it's like my day-to-day is just kind of like, I was like the 9-to-5 stuff, kind of like get home, give myself time, just like decompress, make some time, just kind of like really just go deep into whether it's like editing a video, choosing songs for a next mix, or just even editing photos as well. Probably like late at night, sometimes bleeds over until like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., like those vamp hours. Funny enough, it feels like, at least with this like trial and error, like I'm working like a second job in a sense. I'm putting as much as I'm putting like energy into like my regular 9-to-5, I'm putting that same type of energy into trial and error or just any creative thing I'm doing. Like as creatives, we're kind of like working like a 9 to like maybe like 2 a.m. kind of stuff.
You have the 9-to-5 and then the 5 to 9.
Yeah, 9 to 9.
But really the 5 to 2, 3.
Yeah.
It's a lot. What are some things people don't know that you have to go through?
I think like internal stuff for the most part when it comes to it. Because I think, I remember when I was first doing like trial and error and whatnot, I think I was just kind of like one of those things where I just had like a very big like one of those moments where just like, can I really do this? Can I really do this? Like, is this gonna really like pan out how I want it to be?
Mental block.
A lot of mental block. I think that's
Your
what I'm looking
biggest
for.
enemy being yourself.
Literally. So I think that was like a big struggle. I'll say I'm still like very new, it feels like, to DJing. Like, I mean, it's only been like 4 years, but I still feel like a rookie almost.
DJ's gonna Basile at my wedding.
Am I?
Oh, you wouldn't want to?
I wouldn't, only because I want to be in the wedding. Well, I'll be a part of the wedding.
I mean, you can step away from the computer, no?
I mean, I could.
Okay, no, I have a question.
Good.
What do y'all do at the sound booth? Y'all be pressing all the buttons and what do y'all, like, if the mix is already made, what is there to do more?
At least for me, when I'm DJing, I'm just kind of doing it like right then in person. I don't really do like a pre-made mix. So like when I'm mixing, like it's kind of like in person. But though there are people though who I've heard like stories where like they'll come with like a made mix and just like play it. But I think though, like I guess if I was like in that position, I'll definitely just be like one of those people just pressing buttons to make it seem like I'm doing something.
What are y'all doing? The mix is already made. What's all the buttons for?
You gotta fake the fun.
Like they do all the, the sliders.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, what do you mean you can't go in the crowd? Isn't the thing already made?
No.
But I mean, I know sometimes like they fade the song or something. Okay, I just need a clarification because I'll just watch those videos like Rolling Loud sets or whatever and the DJ's up at the top. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, did you not make this already? Like, I don't know. Ooh, I have a question. I know Virgil Abloh is like a huge inspiration for you. I know you've always been into music anyway, but did So Ill, was that ever inspired even a little bit by Bintro? You guys are both creatives who love music and you took that and you're going into something else. Even as starting with the mixes in the house and everything, and now it's this visual concept and who knows where it can go from there. I just didn't know if maybe indirectly you were maybe inspired. I'm not saying he's the reason you did all this. Maybe was he someone that helped you to keep going?
No, thank you for that. Now, he definitely is like one of those people actually, because I definitely remember, I think when I first started doing Trial and Error, at least when I got like the inception of it, I think it was just like around the time like he passed, rest in peace. So I think around that time, I think I was just like watching like, and I've always been a big fan of like Virgil, kind of like, cause I'm like a big Kanye West fan. So I think like if you're like into fashion and whatnot, you're like a Kanye West fan, you kind of like already know who like Virgil is. So yeah, he's definitely like one of those people I've like always paid attention to, like growing up and kind of like taking in the things that he says, as far as like what he says in interviews and stuff like that. So I definitely can see like, just like the things that he would say in interviews or just even like his journey in general, I think it's kind of like a testament to Giannis of just kind of like you said, just kind of keep going. So no, I definitely think, now that I think about it, now that you ask me, I think if anything, I think he was definitely like probably a direct and indirect like motivation at least to just like keep going, but also like wanting to do Trial and Error. For sure. Yeah.
We do spend our 20s really developing who we are, what we're into, trial and errors. Where do you want to take this? Kind of in reference to your tweet that I mentioned earlier. Like, where do you see yourself being successful? What is that to you?
Success to me, I think, is just doing something that just really like makes me happy and it just doesn't get boring. I think with Trial and Error, I think I may have like found that, because again, I'm creating like a blended marriage of just like all my interests into one. So it's definitely one of those things, but I think as far as just like what I kind of want out of it or kind of expect out of it, I just really want to take it as like as big as possible, kind of want this leading into doing more cool visual sets, traveling, doing shows, where I can have like rappers perform or singers, working with artists. Definitely want to do like a radio station after this first season for Trial and Error. So no, there's definitely like a lot of things that I want to take this. There's definitely a lot of ways I want to take this, and I think hopefully with God's grace, it becomes like way bigger than me, But yeah, no, I definitely want to take this as far as possible if the hard work and God's allow it.
When you are creating mixes, what does that process look like? Do you hear a song and it gives you a feeling and you're like, oh, this would be really good mixed with this, and it just leads one thing to another? Or do you think of a vibe and you want to create a mix of that vibe? Just what is start to finish, what does that look like for you?
I think it kind of varies between two, to be honest, but I mean, I think there are kind of like both. So, like for example, I remember for like the episode I'm dropping today, for Weekend at Sid's, I know for that, when I was like looking at her place and whatnot, I definitely kind of went for like more of a, to your point, like the vibe of the space, and it's kind of like, what can I do to kind of like really like encapsulate what it like, what I'm feeling like when I step into the place. But there are also like moments too where like I do hear like a song and it was like, oh no, this would be like super like great in the mix. Like I remember, funny enough, I was like, as I was driving here, I was listening to like The Morning by like The Weeknd, and I just thought like, oh no, this would be like a really cool intro into like a mix somewhere somehow. So it's definitely like a play on them both sometimes.
The first trial and error episode, which I really love.
Yes, thank you.
You did a great job with not just the sound, but the visual. Like together, they're amazing. It's very impressive for a first episode where the music is great and the visuals are great. Because sometimes that visual could have been ass.
Yeah, no,
really
I mean, to be honest, I think if I were to do it by myself, that first episode, it definitely would have turned out super like shitty. But I definitely have to give like all the blessings to like Baze, Nico, Chris, Caroline, Cameron, all of them. I definitely don't think it wouldn't be as good if I didn't have like those great group of people kind of like helping me kind of like shape the vision for what it is. So no, shout out to them for sure.
Where does the vision come from for the visual? Because you just explained the music part. Sometimes I listen to music and I imagine what the music video would look like if I were to direct it, you know?
I do the same thing all the time though when it comes to listening to a lot of songs. I always envision like, oh, how this look in like a much more visual aspect. And no, I think it's definitely one of those things, I guess when it comes to like the more like visual inspo, I think for the first episode, I think it was just one of those things where I don't think I had like a visual like thing in my head, because I think I just want to get it out the way for sure. There definitely are like episodes that I have now that's gonna drop in the future that like I definitely kind of came in, I was like, oh, like visual, like this will look like really good.
It's more intentional.
Yeah, but I think at least since we're like so like kind of like new to this, it's kind of like in its infancy stages, you know. I think as I've kind of like progressed and whatnot, I'll start to be able to kind of like coincide like those visual elements with like the musical elements where it kind of syncs perfectly. But for now, it's kind of going with the flow almost. But we're figuring it out though as we get to it.
When did you film these first two?
Literally like last year. So
yeah. Why the wait?
Okay, so I definitely remember when I was first doing this. I think I remember telling myself like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do this like visual set thing, and it's gonna be like 6 episodes, and I'm gonna make sure I like do like all 6 episodes before I got dropped in and whatnot. I definitely just had like those weird like mental block moments of just kind of like second doubting myself in the sense of just like, oh, like will people like this? Am I gonna like this? I love it, but like this shit's like terrible. It was definitely like a lot of like mental blocks, kind of getting my own way, but I think just kind of had like just talking to like friends like you and just other people, but just having talks to myself, just kind of realizing that if I kind of just like keep like holding on to this, I mean, one, nobody's gonna really care when I drop it, but two, I'm only kind of like doing myself a disservice at the end of the day. And I guess I was just kind of waiting for like that perfect moment. You know, it's crazy, we'll all try to find like that perfect moment to drop a thing, you know what I mean? But I think I just had told myself like, if you're gonna keep waiting for this quote unquote like perfect moment, you're gonna like go into like 2024 with like no episodes and just still kind of like beating yourself up about it. It's one of those things I just wanted to get right for sure, and the mental blocks too.
Are you happy with the response from the first video?
Yes, no, I love it.
Yes, no? Yes, I'm just kidding. No. I'm just kidding.
No, I definitely love the responses for sure. I'm still kind of like taken back by it because I'm currently sitting at like 191 views, and I guess like in the grand scheme of things, like that's like not a lot to somebody, but like the fact that like
it is, because what if you had 100? You said 191.
Yeah, like
what if that many people were in the room?
Yeah, no, literally, exactly. So 191 people just kind of like took their time to just watch this. So no, the response has been like super dope, whether it be like strangers telling me how much they love it, or just like family and friends who've like seen it for the first time telling me how much they love it and whatnot. It's been definitely like really dope, and it's a really good motivator and like reassurance to just let me know like, you know, you're going on the right path, you know. So it definitely helps a lot.
I was so happy to finally see it being posted.
Finally.
I was like,
it was literally living in like your messages for like ages. Funny enough, I remember I first posted it, like the pilot, on like my page. And I just remember like kind of going through comments. And I remember seeing yours saying like, finally. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Like, bro, people want to see Basile and his face and him moving and grooving more often.
Surprisingly, I'm surprised.
Somebody at the Larry June concert approached me and was like, oh my God, I watch your videos on YouTube. I was like, oh my God, thanks so much. I appreciate the support, whatever. And she's like, can you interview my friend Basile? I was like, girl, please DM him now. Like, I've been telling him to get on this channel for so long. Well, Basile,
Yes.
I think that's all that I have for you today. Is there anything that you want to talk about that I didn't touch up on? Damn, bro, the wind is going crazy.
Oh God, what's going on here?
Anyway, anything that I didn't talk about that you want to talk about, or any questions for me, or anything, whatever it is, let it out.
Thank you again for letting me be a part of this seed. You know what I mean? Like I was telling you off camera, you know what I mean? Just to see just the growth that you've done with this is like super dope. So the fact that you want to be a part of this definitely means the most to me from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, Trial and Error episode 2 dropping later today. You know what I mean? Probably by the time this actually gets dropped, it'll probably be out.
Yeah, this isn't coming out for like
like a month or two.
No, not a month. Maybe like a week.
A week?
Maybe a week or two.
Okay, but if it's like a week or two, it will have like episode 2 be out, and then maybe episode 3 will be out. You know what I mean? So yeah, follow Trial and Error on YouTube, like, subscribe, and all that good jazz. You know? And yeah, thank you for letting me be here.
Oh my gosh, finally! Okay. Well, thank you so much, Basile, again, for coming onto my channel.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you everyone who watched. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please follow me on Instagram. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Follow me on Instagram too, yeah.
And the Instagram is Shingu.
Yes, BSHINGU. Follow Trial and Error on Instagram. It's trial with like 3 or 4 N's. Error, you know what I mean? Follow those. Be all good.
And Soille.
And follow So Ill Sound on IG.
And
Immaculate Taste.
Immaculate Taste.
Follow everybody. Okay?
Oh, that was rough.
This is my first interview. You gotta walk me through this.
As I was saying, thank you for watching, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram, like, comment, and subscribe.
Run it up.
And we are out. Bye.